Okay, quick Monday morning radar update. So the FTSE 100 inside day below the range, DAX inside day above the range so far, 250 inside day back into the range after taking the highs out, and the small caps has taken Friday's high out and it's just dipping back into the range. A little bit of drift, waiting for direction, I would say. So let's just jump into the US because that's the talking point at the moment, isn't it? S&P, obviously SPY as well. I've got the SPY up on the screen. I've got the S&P on the screen. You can't see. ETF of the S&P. Just shy of closing above Thursday's down day high. The Russell took the lows out, took the range high back out, closed strong. They all closed strong, obviously. But, you know, the Q's obviously been the weakest one. Still closed back into the sort of range rather than trying to take the high out. And Thursday's high I'm talking about. And the industrials closes above Thursday's high. Let's just jump through these and do the old. So I'll just basically highlight, if you've got ShareScope, you can download the same volume what ShareScope programmed for me. It's called Volume Conviction, and you can basically set the volume on the chart and on the volume histogram. So there's two volume codes in there. You can criteria you can use. So a close above the previous day's high on above average volume, and this is what we look at, you know, volume. So you'll notice closes above previous day's high on volume will be this very bright green. Closes up above previous day's close, but inside, you know, it's got a tinge of buying. You know, the buyers won, but still it closed, you know, in the range of the previous day. A close below the previous day's bar on volume, it will be bright red, and close down but still within the previous bar, it will have a tinge of sort of red or pink, whatever that colour is. And everything else is pretty meaningless to me. Everything else is you know, not that important. It's not on above average volume. So, and why is there a volume line on that chart? I have no clue. So, you know, it just highlights meaningful volume, and we've got quite a lot of volume. You know, we drifted up on low volume here. You'll notice that this big drift up, we've got some sort of accumulation here, big accumulation. Then the sellers took control again, and then the market drifted back up, and then the selling came in. I'm on the transports at the moment. Got a little bit of selling, but this bar here is bigger than this previous distribution on the transports. We can do that for all markets, but this is a pretty big volume bar. But yes, we've got two distribution bars on the industrials. You know, these are pretty big, meaningful bars. That is a big reversal bar. Does it mean it will hold? Well, you know, my methodology is one market does not make a trend. That's why I look at all markets. At the moment, you know, I'll just go through these on the daily, and then I'll just reverse that up a bit and say, hang on a minute, you know, what is our time frame? Is this really important? Basically is what I'm going to do. So yes, a lot of distribution. The market has corrected on the S&P, and it's ticked back up just shy of the previous day's high, which, you know, I like to see it take the high out, but more meaningfully on volume this time. And the Nasdaq, you know, we haven't got volume for Friday yet for some reason. Moving on. Sometimes it's a bit late coming through. And the Russell, hammer time. So, pretty normal action. Now, you know, when it comes to time frames, if you're an investment time frame, you know, you'll be interested in the primary trend of the markets if you're an investor on an investment time frame. You know, you're trading the cycles rather than the swings. Well, you know, first things first, you know, let's just see what happened. At the moment, you know, this is the monthly on the transports. What really happened there? This is the industrials. It's just inside month. This is the S&P, it's an inside month. This is the Nasdaq, it's closed below, you know. This is the Russell, it's an inside month so far. So, as we say, one market does not make a trend. I'll just go through the DAX, looks fantastic. Even the FTSE 100 is starting to look okay, you know, inside month there. So far, all we've got is inside months, apart from UK small caps have bumped through the highs of the prior month. If we go down to weekly, we can do that again. Obviously, we're looking at Friday's last week on the US, and then we'll move into big hammer on volume on the S&P there. Russell distribution on the weekly. Nothing really to see on the Nasdaq last week. And the DAX. So, you know, there's a little lesson here. Unbelievable noise out there if you let it get into your time frame. Stay true to your time frame. I'm a trend follower. It doesn't matter if the market craters, my risk model takes me out. I give back the tail anyway. But, you know, the only I mean, it hasn't even affected growth stocks yet. It's in the UK especially. I'm going with the decoupling trade still. It's still working out. You can see the UK markets look pretty good. But, you know, don't let that little earworm get it into you, you know, the volatility out there and this and that. You know, we can't read the future. What is, and this is what is now. You know, this is how the markets are at this point in time. Not here to pick tops, not here to pick bottoms, just here to ride trends in the best stocks I can find. So, you know, zoom out the noise is the little lesson this morning. So let's move on from there. We can go into a few other markets, but oil right at the top end of the channel I've drawn. It's a big moving oil. You know, this big moving oil isn't great for the markets really, but I'm sure it will sort itself out in time. We can go back to the TLT and we can say the same thing, you know. This moving TLT, the speed of the move is more important than the actual, you know, the pricing really. You know, these fast moves make the difference. If it was just bumbling around down here, you know, you've got to remember how these things, you know, they will trade how they trade. And to think that stocks should now get whacked because of this, you know, I think it's been a little bit creative. The correlations are very, very weak with stocks. So let's move on. Let's just look at pound US dollar, you know, that's coming in. Normal action. Oh, I suppose we can look at gold, which has just been doing nothing. It's come back right into what we call the voodoo average. Did see a couple of stocks hit the screens last week, but you know, they soon disappeared. So I'm already 10 minutes in. You know, if you get a little bit twitchy on your time frame, maybe just step up to the next time frame and just see what's happening on the bigger time frames. Any sort of method must you don't want to be riding long-term trends and getting shaken out by watching, you know, opinions on daily charts. You know, it's not going to really help you sort of anything from sort of swing trading up to, you know, I think something like the Nasdaq is only going to affect swing traders down. Anything above, you know, you're trading your own time frame, aren't you? Moving on. So I'll quickly see if we've got any volume leaders today. I'll have a quick look in the large caps. It is 10:30. Timed that pretty well. We should have traded 29% to be on average volume. We have a volume day in large caps. There's a lot in there. I'll just jump straight into the small caps and see what did I say? 10:30. 29% I said, didn't I? And there you go. I've already got 29% in there. Let me just adjust the sliders. And we've got a volume day in small caps as well. So, you know, what am I seeing in here? A pretty healthy mix, really. We're seeing some mining stocks. We're seeing some oilers. Oilers and financials, again, probably being the main constituents. There's going to be a lot of stocks in sort of areas like this, normal pullback areas, what are, you know, I'm not saying this is an idea, but not at all, I've not even looked at it, but just in normal retrace areas, I see in my own portfolio, a couple we've been talking about in these, you know, what I've got positions in are trying to turn up today, and notice JLP is trying to turn up today as well. Not on volume today, I don't think, but some interesting areas. So that's a return to growth. Let's just move through these. Buzz through them fast. SRC, it's got a huge tick up in the forward numbers on this one. This is trying to turn up as well. I already have a position. I'm already riding this one, so it's in a bit of a boring sector, but you know, I don't mind putting a bit of money anywhere. It's always the best opportunities at this point in time when I'm looking at the screens. Asset management's doing well, aren't they? Obviously. Autos, trying to avoid those, but they are hitting the screens today. Source Bio, got nothing really on this. See a big turn up on in the turnover on it though. I don't think it hit my screen, but I'll just not really. Turnover positive accelerating. Should be a turnover breakout as well. So, you know, you'd have to dig into the guidance and build a case on stuff like that. Bio. Teresa looks good, doesn't it? It's out well out of that first base, but in my view, it would be better if it coiled, just coiled and built a second base. You know, it's trading towards some pretty good numbers there. In fact, fantastic numbers. THS decelerating on the earnings. Is it? Yeah, just because it was such a huge tick up, you know. it might be decelerating, but it's still a huge move because its prior sort of 6.4 up to 18.5 was insanely large. So yeah, it's really hard to argue with something like that. I would wait for it to be ready myself if I was going to take that on. Sometimes they can go into the reverse vol basing, and go deeper depending on the market sometimes, but just letting it play out and letting it actually break out is key in my world. All the losers didn't trade a simple signal. That's the best way to think of it. So just by waiting for it to trade that signal, it stacks it in your favor a little bit more. TGR, moving on, no forward on that. Though we did see the base on it. What I try to do in these, I can find stocks with no fundamental, sort of no growth all day long, and we just call them a POS and put them in a little box and say, I try and screen for the best growth stocks, and you're only going to see one or two a day maybe. And that is the reality. If you want to trade the best stocks, you're going to have to go. You're going to have to turn over a lot of rocks every day. TRX, no forward numbers on that, I don't think. Tick down in the turnover. Lose less. This is a return to pre-tax profit, apparently. A little tick up in the turnover. Traxis, we talked about that a lot already. Begbie's always tends to pass the screen. I'd let it coil up. I did have a nibble at it last year, didn't I? We did see this little sort of ledge here as well. Jury's out with that one. Boring area though. Tick down. Having a look at a big tick up in turnover, tick down in pre-tax profit, earnings per share up slightly. Smith's News, big tick up in the forward numbers on that one as well. And CLX, obviously, it's one of my favourites. It's holding in there nicely, and it's actually trying a little bit today. So you can see my plan there. I already have a position with a wider stop, and I plan to trail my stop and add to it above that line. I don't trade anything with air in the title. And sometimes, this is a return to profit, isn't it? And it has been for what seems like ever. Sometimes you've just got to did get involved on this little run here and then got pulled out of it when the market crashed. But sometimes you just got to look at how far something goes, and you can see it's actually moving. See the average rolling sideways a little bit. It's kind of losing that momentum. It's getting a little. It's had a huge run, 300%. Even if it goes through with fantastic sort of results, the chances are it might want to base out anyway, just because it's traded towards, the good times. So that is today's volume leaders. DAX popping. Looks like we've got a little turn up attempt there. Expect US markets to open a little bit lethargic today. After a big day, they tend to have an inside day. It's a high probability sort of range bound day. So we will see how that goes. Okay, I'll leave it there.